Hello and welcome to another Trace Content Management System tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about contact forms, how you can create new forms and manage existing forms. So the first thing you want to do is log into Trace Content Management System. From there, make sure that you're in Trace View. Now all we have to do is hover over the contact form and click it. We're going to get a pop-up with 3 tabs. We have Settings, Add New Form, and Manage Forms. You're also going to see these familiar red question marks. Clicking those at any time will give you a quick description as to what each input field does. So if you ever forget what one specific form field does, just open that up and it should explain what you need to know there. So starting with the settings, we have what form would you like to link this to? So this means you can create multiple contact forms and link a form on a specific page to that form. So if you have your generic contact form on all of your pages, but then on one specific page you want some special contact form, you have the ability to do this. The email to input defines who this is going to actually email to when someone submits and fills this form out. The email subject defines the subject line of the email that's going to be sent to the person in the email to field. The submit message is just an alert or pop-up that informs your users that their form has been filled out successfully. Show field headers defines whether or not you want these headers like full name, email address, phone number to actually appear or not. Display headers in fields will actually put the words full name, email address, phone number inside the input fields itself. So if you don't want your headers to appear above the input fields but inside them, you would want to turn this off and this one on. So adding a new form, we just want to click that tab real quick. We have one option for form name. So I'm going to call this new homepage form. We're going to hit the add form button. From there, we want to go into manage forms and we're going to get a list of all of the forms that we've created site-wide. So now to edit an existing form, you would just hit the edit button. To delete a form, you would just hit the delete button. So editing a form will have another pop-up appear labeled edit form. Now we have a couple of options here. The first one, add new field. And here we have a couple of options: input, text area, drop down, checkbox, radio group, and header. An input field is probably the most common type of field that you're going to be using. So we're going to start off here. The title is essentially the header text for this input field. So we're going to call this first name. Required field defines whether or not this field needs to be filled out in order for your users or customers to submit this form. First name's pretty important, so we're going to make this a required field. Hit submit. We're going to be informed that our form field has been added, and you're going to see it appear in the form fields list below. Now the next field we're going to add is last name. Again, hit the submit button. Our form field has been added. And as you can see, I actually misspelled name on last name. So if you ever need to edit an existing form field, you just need to come into the input field over here, make the change. We're going to capitalize the N there, and then hit the save button for that specific field. So the next form field type is the text area. So we're going to add that, and we're going to call this message. Now, we don't necessarily need this to be required, so we're going to turn that off, hit submit. Our form field has been added. Moving down the list to drop down, you can see on the right hand side here, I have a drop down created already. So we'll create another drop down. We'll call it drop down. Now, the option fields for the dropdown are filled out in the option fields input area. Now, these are separated by comma. You're going to see by default, it'll say separated by comma. So if we wanted option 1, option 2, option 3, We just need to separate these all by commas, and then we're going to have 3 options in a drop-down list. Now when this adds to the form field list below, you're going to see a secondary input field to allow you to edit this, so you can add or remove options as you feel needed. Next we have a checkbox, very similar to the input field itself. There's only one option for it, which is the header. We'll hit submit. Well, we have our checkbox now. Now we have radio groups. A radio group is kind of like a group of checkboxes, which means that the user has to select one and only one of the options available to them. Let's call that radio group. And again, we're just going to put in option 1, option 2, option 3 for this as well. Hit submit. Now the last one is header. This is just essentially a string of text. So we're just going to call this thank you, hit submit, and our header's been added. Now at any time, if you want to reorder how these form fields are displayed, all you have to do is come over to the left-hand side where it says input text area dropdown, click and drag that form field to where you want it to be. That's going to automatically save, so you don't have to hit the save button or anything like that. Now, so we want this form to appear on our home page now. So we just want to quickly reload our web page to ensure that the form adds to our settings section. From there, we're going to see our new home page form. Simply click that. We'll fix that spelling mistake there. Hit the save button on your settings. Refresh our website again. Now you can see we have our new form appearing here. So as you can see at the very top, we have our header text, which just says thank you, our first name, last name, message, our drop down, checkbox, and radio groups. So now if we just move to live view very quick, we can actually fill this out and see how it reacts. So as we hit submit, our first name and last name are required fields. So they're gonna highlight in red when your users forget to fill these form fields out, not letting them process the form until they do fill it out. So I'm just gonna fill this out real quick. Option 2, click the checkbox, hit that radio group, hit the submit button. Now you'll see our thank you message appear, and then that's going to send an email off to whoever you specify the email to option with the email subject line that you define. You're going to get that email within seconds. You can respond to it. And yeah, it's as simple as that, guys.